Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're deconstructing an absolute behemoth of a pop culture phenomenon. We are, of course, talking about Miley Cyrus's record-shattering anthem, Flowers. Look, we all know the song, right? We've all caught ourselves humming that chorus in the grocery store, but today we're really going to look under the hood. We're unpacking the exact musical DNA, the genius strategic rollout, the wild internet lore, and those unprecedented chart records that took a simple pop track and turned it into a defining cultural moment of our decade. Let's get right into it.
So, 2.7 billion. Let that number just sit with you for a second. That staggering figure represents the global subscription stream equivalents Flowers pulled in during 2023 alone. According to the IFPI, that massive number made Flowers the undeniable absolute best-selling global single of the entire year. To put that into perspective, this track didn't just perform well. It literally eclipsed the entire global music market, reaching listeners on a scale that most artists don't even see in a lifetime.
But how on earth does a song get that massive? Well, it actually started out incredibly small, very intimately, in fact. Back in January 2022 at Sunset Sound Recorders in Hollywood, co-writers Miley Cyrus, Gregory Alday-Hine, and Michael Pollock were just gathered around a piano. Pollock even said, "It practically wrote itself." What eventually became this huge global dance sensation actually started its life as a stripped-back, slower, and honestly much sadder ballad, with just Miley singing over a Rhodes piano.
From that intimate moment, the song went through a literal one-year metamorphosis. After that January 2022 writing session, they took the track into the lab. By New Year's Eve, Miley is on her live NBC television special announcing the drop. And then, boom, January 13, 2023, Flowers hits the world, but not as that sad ballad. It was completely reimagined as this vibrant, upbeat anthem, totally optimized for maximum global impact. To make that massive leap from a sad demo to a club-ready banger, producers Kid Harpoon and Tyler Johnson injected some very specific musical DNA into the mix. You've got these distinct disco, pop rock, and funk influences all blending together. Critics were obsessed with the shimmering electric guitar, that crazy funky bass line, and the swooning strings that give the whole thing this understated yacht rock mood. The sonic blend was so perfectly nailed that music journalists were instantly drawing comparisons to Fleetwood Mac's Rumors and Gloria Gaynor's legendary disco anthem, I Will Survive. And this completely illustrates the massive thematic shift in Miley's own career. Think back to her 2019 single, Slide Away. The contrast is actually jarring. Slide Away was just steeped in this heavy melancholy and the real pain of romantic loss. Flowers, on the other hand, just totally flips the script. It trades all that sadness for a spunky, hyper-assertive outlook that is entirely about self-sustainability. She isn't singing about what she lost anymore, she's proudly flaunting her independence. Now, the real secret sauce, the thing that fueled the song's massive viral explosion, is a technique called interpolation, or in this case, a lyrical paraphrase. Basically, it's when you take familiar concepts from an existing hit and alter them to evoke a specific feeling. The chorus of Flowers is widely recognized as this incredibly clever, flipped paraphrase of Bruno Mars's 2012 hit, When I Was Your Man. Instead of someone regretting that they didn't buy their partner flowers, Miley is celebrating the fact that she can just buy them for herself.
And man, did that interpolation light the internet on fire. Fans immediately started theorizing that these lyrics were a direct response to her ex-husband Liam Hemsworth. I mean, the evidence was compelling, right? The song was strategically released on his birthday, the lyrics referenced their shared Malibu home that tragically burned down in 2018, and rumor had it Hemsworth had once dedicated that exact Bruno Mars song to her. Whether she did it on purpose or not, this lore created a massive, self-sustaining cultural conversation. People couldn't stop talking about it.
So you take that perfect storm, the catchy sound design, the empowering message, and that juicy internet lore, and it just completely shattered streaming records right out of the gate. By its second week, it hit 115.1 million streams on Spotify. That was the biggest streaming week in the platform's entire history. It became the fastest song ever to reach 1 billion streams, doing it in just 112 days. And later, it became the fastest female song to hit 2 billion streams. The sheer velocity of how fast people were consuming this track was just unprecedented. But it wasn't just the Spotify and Apple Music crowd. Traditional radio absolutely devoured it too. Flowers spent a historic 57 weeks at the top of the Billboard Adult Contemporary chart. Just think about that. That's more than a full calendar year sitting pretty at #1. It officially broke a 60-year-old record for the longest-running chart topper in that specific format's history.
And honestly, the radio milestones just kept coming. Across all the Billboard airplay charts, we're talking adult contemporary, pop, adult pop, and dance, Flowers racked up a mind-bending 106 cumulative weeks at number 1. By pulling that off, it surpassed massive heavyweights like The Weeknd's Blinding Lights. That effectively made Flowers the most dominant radio hit in American history when you look at cumulative weeks atop those airplay charts. No big deal, right?
Now, the visual side of things really tied it all together. The music video, directed by Jacob Bixman, perfectly visualized this whole journey of self-love, scene by scene. We see Miley starting out walking across an Elysian Park bridge, then she's doing this intense solo workout by her pool, showering, changing into an oversized black suit, and it all culminates with her just joyfully, triumphantly dancing alone on her roof. It's a literal, step-by-step progression from isolation to absolute, empowered self-reliance.
The fashion was just as deliberate. Vogue was all over it, heavily praising Miley for pulling this stunning vintage gold lame Yves Saint Laurent gown from their autumn/winter 1991-92 collection. But the impact of that aesthetic bled way out of high fashion circles. Get this, the video simultaneously caused a 413% spike in online searches for black lingerie sets. That just goes to show that the visual vibe of the music video was resonating exactly as loudly as the song itself.
What's really fascinating, though, is how she handled performing it live. Miley intriguingly held back. She played it for her Disney Plus Backyard Sessions in March 2023, and she did a little private debut at the Chateau Marmont later that year. But she waited over a full year to actually bring it to live, public television at the 66th Annual Grammy Awards in February 2024. That kind of restraint is so rare today. It kept the mystique alive and guaranteed that her first real performance of it was an absolute television event.
And that patience absolutely paid off. That electric Grammy performance was a total victory lap. It resulted in massive industry validation. Flowers took home Record of the Year and Best Pop Solo Performance, plus a nomination for Song of the Year. Amazingly, these were Miley Cyrus's career first Grammy wins. And all that massive television exposure, it catapulted the song straight back into the Billboard Top 10, proving it still had immense staying power a full year after it dropped.
Industry folks immediately saw what was happening here. John Zellner, an executive over at iHeartMedia, hit the nail on the head. He called it a mass appeal song and said it's likely played by classic hit stations 20 years from now. This wasn't just a trendy TikTok viral moment, it cemented Flowers as a timeless track. One of those rare songs that is practically guaranteed to dominate radio programming and wedding playlists for decades to come.
But right when you think it's the perfect Hollywood ending, there's a plot twist. The song's legacy is currently facing a pretty significant legal hurdle. In late 2024, a company called Tempo Music Investments filed a lawsuit alleging copyright infringement. They're claiming Flowers includes unauthorized exploitation of Bruno Mars's song. Now, it is absolutely crucial to note here, Bruno Mars himself is not suing her. He's not a plaintiff. This is an investment firm that bought a portion of the song's rights from one of its co-writers.
Miley's team obviously fought back immediately. They tried to get the lawsuit dismissed in November 2024, basically arguing that this investment firm didn't even have the standing to sue without the other original writers on board. But, plot twist again, in March 2025, a federal court actually denied that motion for dismissal, so the case is moving forward. That leaves the ultimate legal outcome and the massive financial fate of this hit entirely up in the air.
Which leaves us with a really fascinating question to wrap up this explainer. We've seen the billions of streams. We've seen the historic chart records, the fashion impact, those career-first Grammy wins. Flowers is, without a doubt, a modern pop masterpiece. But even with a message of independence that resonated so deeply all over the globe, will this ongoing legal battle ultimately alter how we remember it? Are we going to remember it as the ultimate anthem of self-reliance, or for its time tangled up in a courtroom? I guess only time and a federal judge will tell. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep your curiosity blooming until next time.